Welcome back to Good Day Columbia. Time now is 7:14. It hasn't happened yet, but pretty soon WACH Fox is putting on the South Carolina Veterans Expo. This expo is a way to connect and honor South Carolina veterans. Please join us Saturday, May 9th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds. There will be plenty of resources for vets and their families. The guest speaker for the day will be Kevin Schwedo, the executive director of the South Carolina DMV. Now, he previously served as the deputy commanding general at Fort Jackson. This expo is presented by the Jeffcoat firm. In preparation for the event, we'd like to highlight some veterans across the state. Joining us now, no stranger to the show, we could say WACH Fox's local hero, Lamont Christian, with the Big Red Barn Retreat. Command Sergeant Major, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
We appreciate your time, Command Sergeant Major, all that you're doing for veterans. Before we get to that, let's scale back a little bit. When did you know that this was your path, the military was for you?
It was probably when I went to college. I went to A&T State University, and had to figure out a way to pay for school on my own. GI Bill and all of that wasn't a thing, and so I joined the reserves. And so that was when it happened. I learned how to jump out of airplanes and pack parachutes as a 17-year-old. And I said, I kind of like this.
17? Wow, yeah. So you started pretty young.
I did. Like I said, I was in college, and I needed to be able to pay for school, and so I went off to do basic training, and then jumped out of airplanes and learned how to pack parachutes. And so from there, I knew that I wanted to be part of that. And even though my father was in the military, and his not being around kind of put me in a state of mind I did not want to be in the military, but it's what I knew. And so I gravitated towards the camaraderie-ship. I gravitated towards the thrill, you know, of jumping out of airplanes and all of those things. So anyway, I decided to go full-time, and the reserves allowed me to go active duty. And next thing I knew, I was a combat infantryman serving in the same division my dad was in the 82nd.
What?
And never looked back.
How historic is that?
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to tell him? Was he alive at the time?
He was actually. Okay. So here's the irony. My dad was one of my airborne instructors when I went through jump school.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. So that was a real event. All of his friends were looking for me, but because I was in college, they thought I was going to go through as a cadet. But I was in a reserve unit, so I went through enlisted. So they were looking for a cadet in the airborne school, not an enlisted guy. So I was able to get through the first 2 weeks of the 3 weeks of training under the radar. And then finally somebody figured it out.
You're so-and-so's kid.
That's exactly what happened. So yeah, it was an experience.
Speaking about the experience, obviously you've been deployed, you've done a number of things, served a number of years in the militaries. It brings us here to the Big Red Barn Retreat. How did you get to where you are now there? Yeah,
so like I said, I served different divisions across the country, Hawaii, Georgia, Fort Benning, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, even Fort Campbell in Kentucky. So the last place I thought I would be Fort Jackson, but I was selected to be the commandant for the Army's Drill Sergeant Academy. And then I was selected to be the post command sergeant major. And so that responsibility also entailed being the second, or I guess you would say the highest enlisted advisor for basic combat training for the entire Army. So I did that and decided to leave my flag, if you would, planted here in South Carolina, and just stayed after I retired. The relationship with the Big Red Barn Retreat occurred because the Big Red Barn has been supporting drill sergeants and their wellness programs for years. And so I knew of the Big Red Barn, but was not necessarily connected with them just because they were one of the support agencies that helped us out. But when I got out, I continued to see that they were helping veterans and first responders and their families in the community. And the co-founder, Sutton Shaw, reached out and just said, hey, would you mind coming to listen? I want to bring a program here, and the rest is history. Yeah,
and you all have been doing a number of great work across the state. Many veterans' lives are being impacted, being changed in a positive way. Before we go, speak to the person who has a family member who's in the military. What do you tell them when they're trying to understand what they're facing and what they're dealing with?
Yeah, even if it's somebody who's just joining for the first time, and especially now with the uncertainty of the way that the world is, it can be challenging. I often have to remind people that our military is made up of volunteers. So this takes a different mindset for somebody to raise their hand and say, I want to serve. For years, we were a conscription type army, you know, where you would draftees were joining our forces. And so the family was also committed to that because it was my family members going to serve. Well, now, being a volunteer, some of the family members might be like, hey, I'm not signing up for this, you are. So it's a different conversation, and the only thing that I would say is be supportive, and then understand that there are some things about the military that can be challenging. And as a family member, the biggest part can be just to understand that there's some elements of being in the military that are hard to explain because you have to be able to experience it. And so, you know, looking for help if they're struggling. The resources are out there. If they've taken the uniform off, the military family members have also served. I mean, they've been right there alongside them during the career. And so the resources that are out there, just like the Midlands Veterans Engagement Council, provide the ability for the veteran and their family members to find the information and the help that they need.
Command Sergeant Major Lamont Christian, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much for everything. We appreciate it. And once again, the South Carolina Veterans Expo, brought to you by WACH Fox, is taking place Saturday, May 9th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds, beginning at 11 until 5 p.m. We hope to see you there, and it's presented by the Jeff Coat Firm. Stay with us. There's more Good Day Columbia coming up after a break with a look at your forecast. Time right now is 7:20.